the British are coming. They're coming. And he had to let people know that something was happening.
There you go.
And we just need to let people know that things are happening.
Well,
and you can call it overdramatic, but if it's right, it's right. Because I got another overdramatic thing for you today.
Oh, good.
The Diamond. We are the Diamond. We have 2 series that are the most important of their lives.
One
for the Gamecocks and one for the Bravos.
We go get into that a little bit. Last night, it looked like Atlanta was going to finally beat the slump, get out of the slump. They were ready. They were prepared. The Braves jumped out to a nice 5-0 lead, surrender 2 runs in the second, 1 in the fourth, 2 in the eighth, and then here comes Mr. Shohei Ohtani smashing one out of the ballpark.
We will have Chop Talk has the potential to be very fun this year.
Yes.
Has the potential to be extremely fun this year. But I have a bigger question, and we will get to it now, and we will get to it later. When the best player in the league comes up to bat in the bottom enough, why do you throw him a pitch to hit? What are we doing?
To get Shohei Ohtani bobbleheads, and it is one of the 4 that they're having this year. And this one features him holding his MVP award, Preston.
Did they not forget that he was the MVP? Did they not see?
Did somebody not look out of the dugout and be like, oh, it's bobblehead night? You know what? Let's just throw him on base and worry about the next guy. But that's
would have been an easy decision.
We will cover that in Chop Talk this morning. And again, a lot to get to. Spring practice rolling on over at South Carolina. It feels like Preston, we went from getting no information to having just information after information after information, just people speaking constantly. And that's kind of enjoyable to be able to hear. And yesterday, we got to hear from the one and only LaNorris Sellers and what he is kind of experiencing, thinking, what he is seeing with his wide receivers, and maybe just as importantly, how different life has been since his little jog through Clemson's defense to win that football game.
Yeah, and I haven't done the math on his quotes. We have 7 quotes from LaNorris. I think it's less than a minute worth of actual talking. Sort of like a football game. Like there's a lot of time, but less action. Do the math real quick. I think it goes a little bit more than a minute, but 7, it's about 7 to 8 seconds per clip. And so I think we should play a little game with that a little bit later, and seeing how we can hear from a man of few words.
I think it's less than 2 minutes.
Okay.
It's right. I'm just counting. I'm at 100 seconds right now, just very quickly adding it up.
Okay.
But I don't think I'm going to get to 120 seconds. So, yeah, LaNorris is not a conversationalist when it comes to meeting with the press. So, but we'll let you hear from him this morning. A couple other players talking yesterday, and we'll get into that. Also, DQ Smith, none of the players really. Now that I glance down this cut sheet that Jen just handed us, I'm seeing the longest quote being 31 seconds from Jarwan Howe. So yes, they sent out all the guys yesterday that are not really quote machines. They weren't a bunch of Fran Browns running around over there yesterday.
Yeah. We'll have to figure out. That's one of the things that you figure out in the spring, like who's going to be the guy who's the good quote for the team. A lot of these guys seem to be very direct and to the point.
So a lot of that, we'll get into a lot of that from yesterday. Again, get you ready for tomorrow where we will be down in Darlington, the Schroeder's Towing Road Show, and get you ready for Sunday and celebrating the 75th anniversary of NASCAR's official throwback weekend, which is going to be a lot of fun, and we're excited to get down there. So no Corley Pool Solutions Checkered Flag Challenge segment today. We will save that for tomorrow, and I believe Jen told me it would be 8 a.m. tomorrow morning when Josh Harris will join us, and I know we'll have a lot of good stuff from down there. Look forward to getting down there and hanging out with all of the crew, Josh and his team, as we will be live from the press box on Turn 3, getting ready for the Cookout 400 this weekend. It's going to be, again, a lot of fun. So a lot to get to this morning. 803-404-6100 is how you can get ready. I apologize. Goodyear 400 is what this weekend's race is. Cookout 400 is in Labor Day. So we will get you ready for the Goodyear 400 tomorrow when we are down there. But again, a lot to get to today. We'll start with a little bit of football when we come back. LaNorris Sellers, hard to say he talked yesterday, but words were said. Is that fair?
That's fine.
Okay. Yeah. He said a few things very quickly and very briefly, but we'll analyze, we'll dissect. Also, we'll get into some basketball. All right, Coach Paris, I see what you're doing with that backcourt.
Is he cooking?
Well, I'll let you know in December.
Okay.
This is a very slow cook he's doing. But we'll talk about that.
Gathering ingredients.
Yes, he's the ingredients. He is at the store, and it looks like he's shopping in a different aisle than he did last year. And also,
He went to a different store.
he went to a different store.
Totally
Yeah,
different. He's like, that store, their produce is bad over there.
Yeah.
We're going to a whole nother store.
Didn't last very long. So yeah, so he is doing that. We'll get into that a little bit, and we will continue to try and decipher if Jamari Thomas is going to be able to play basketball anymore, entering the transfer portal. Somebody had to tell him he had eligibility. I just don't know who it was, and we're all waiting for that. So a lot to get to this morning. 803-404-6100 is how you can weigh in if you want to do that this morning. Again, we'll get into a little bit of football, get into a little bit of basketball. We'll get some chop talk for the Braves, a whole bunch of stuff. Jen, I believe you are exiting stage left there at 7:30, and I believe we have Tyler Head coming in as out of the bullpen to replace you. Hopefully he is better than Braves relief last night. I got faith in him. I got faith in him, though, that he'll be able to do that. So get you up and get you going here. You're listening to Bill Gunner, Preston Thorne, Jen Jensen. It is the early game. Bill Gunner for the mortgage guru, Jacob Crowder and First Palmetto Bank. Here we are into April, getting you ready for the summertime. And one of the things you might be getting ready for is a big move. Or maybe you want to do something with your house like refinance, see if you can save money with different interest rates. Well, the first step to doing that is calling Jacob Crowder. He's the mortgage guru for a reason. Just about 5 years ago, he helped put me in the condo that I have out on Lake Murray. And while I found the condo, he was the one that helped me get the incredible interest rate, have a lower down payment, have great monthly mortgage payments. And that's what he does. That's why he's the mortgage guru. He knows how to work with you to find the right interest rate, the best down payment option, and to make your monthly mortgage payment nice and easy on the family budget. So call Jacob Crowder today to allow him to help you with this. 803-719-1005. Again, that's 803-719-1005.
Doesn't appear that we have any accidents this morning, and that is really good news. Don't need any of that this morning to deal with. As far as forecast goes, going to be nice and warm, kind of summer-like, as a matter of fact. 85 is what we are looking at. 87 tomorrow, 88 for Saturday before we see some evening showers. On Sunday next week, we'll be back into the upper 60s. So enjoy the little glimpse of summer while we have it. Right now, 71 on 107.5 The Game.
.6:16 on a Thursday morning, April the 3rd. We continue to move further and further away from that awful day that is April Fool's Day. But we are off and running here at the early game. Hope you're doing well, getting up and getting ready for, again, an exciting weekend of athletics between men's and women's Final Four. Women's around here taking a little bit more of a precedent because South Carolina is in it. Also, this is like the calm before the storm, Preston Thorne. You know what we'll be doing this time next week, sitting here? Any idea?
No.
We'll be watching intently to see if Scotty Scheffler can get through security to get to the Masters.
Okay, yeah.
Masters, a week away. And we continue to count down.
Will Tiger be playing? I heard he was.
I think it was an April Fool's joke.
Oh, okay.
I think he messed with you.
My bad.
He got you.
Oh, my fault. What a clown.
You believed what you saw.
True prankster.
If I had to, if he had to really ruin his Q rating with me, whoa, what a silly move that was.
Sounds like that will circle back on Monday for Thorns, Buds, and Roses at the beginning of Masters
Talk
week.
about ruining, playing yourself out of the hall. Good grief.
Anyway, we'll get you ready again a lot. And 2 weeks from tomorrow, Preston, 2 weeks from tomorrow, we will have the spring game ready to go. We'll be getting you ready for that. So we've got a lot going on, and we will talk some football right now. But first, let's get out to the phone lines. David wants to weigh in on spring practice. David, how you doing this morning? What's on your mind?
I'm doing okay. I need you guys to talk me off the ledge a little bit. I'm tired of hearing this guy flashed, that guy showed flashes. I've lived long enough to know that spontaneous efficiency will kill you. And the other thing that bothered me was that if they held a combine-like session and Luke Doty's numbers were put him in the top 3 of the wide receivers, why do we have him in the quarterback room losing wide receiver reps? I appreciate what y'all do, fellas. Hope y'all have a good one, and I'll take it off there.
This is a good time. Shane addressed this yesterday. I don't know if that's what you're referring to, but it was clip number 6 from yesterday, Jen. Let's hear what they're talking about doing with Luke Doty. And this is on the spur, but it's 6 from yesterday.
Yeah, absolutely. Year one, back in 2021, my first year as a head coach, you guys that were here, Luke was our starting quarterback going into the season and coming out of spring practice. So he's got that experience. It's a great resource to have in that room for those other quarterbacks, Lenoris included, because he has played. You feel confident with him being in the game, and he's just such a good football player and good athlete. When we went back and we did all of our testing at the end of the winter, we did our own version of the NFL Combine, and when we did all that testing, if you took Luke's numbers and you put them strictly in the wide receiver room, he'd be pretty much top 3 in every testing measurable at the receiver position: speed, vertical jump, agility, all that as well. So, we talked about it as a staff that, look, like, this guy can help us, and we need to find a way where he can help us and put him in that position. So he's doing a little bit of everything. So don't be shocked if you see him at quarterback this upcoming season, receiver, playing special teams. He's just he makes our team better on and off the field.
I just realized Luke Doty's back. Okay.
Back,
By the way, I don't know what Shane Beamer just said, and I kind of it glossed over. I was over here counting on fingers. I believe I'm at year 6. Year 6.
Mm-hmm.
He had the COVID. Remember, he started quarterback for Will Muschamp.
Yes.
Well, technically for Mike Bobo.
Mm-hmm.
Technically, do we all remember that, the COVID year?
Try not to. Try not to.
And I mean, until David just said it, I was like, Luke Doty's back? Really? So anyway, what do you take away from that?
I don't take anything away from it. I think that's the bigger point, is that if you're asking if he's back, that probably means that his production hasn't been equivalent to what the name is around him. So that's great. As David stated, that's great if he can perform in the combine and put up numbers, but numbers in the combine don't score points on the field. He probably needs to concentrate on a position, whether that's being a solidified backup to LaNorris Sellers in the quarterback room, or if they say that his numbers are where those numbers are for the wide receivers, then put him at wide receiver. He's had plenty of opportunity. He has not produced at those positions, and I'm not a fan of saying, like, we got to find a way to get this guy on the field. If they wanted him on the field, he would have been on the field. Plenty of people have played at wide receiver. As a matter of fact, we talked about the lack of depth at wide receiver. So I'm not a fan of that conversation. If he should be the backup quarterback, which I think there is a rightful argument for somebody being experienced, then that could be a possibility. But I don't really particularly care about somebody putting up great combine numbers.
Yeah, to me, I've always thought his role, and I was kind of looking to see what exactly he's listed at now, but was kind of that of an H-back type role, kind of a do-it-all. He's got good, from what I've been told, good straight line speed. But you could be really fast running straight, but that doesn't mean you're shifty and able to make people break tackles, right? Like DeCarrion Joyner, nothing against him, but we kind of saw that as the running back. Like he didn't have kind of that ability to make people miss. But I've always thought that Luke kind of fit the neck roll kind of.
Yeah. Well, you got to block.
Yeah.
That.
And I think that he is the kind of football player that will get in there and do that and block. I'm now actually trying to see, still number 9. I mean, he's not big. He's not 240. He's about 220. He's listed at 215 on the roster, but he's 6'2". But I would still think that that's kind of how he could best be served.
I would not.
Really?
You have to be – people think, oh, let's just put him over here. You can't just throw somebody. That is a skill. That is more a skill and a will. And if you don't have the skill – and the will to do that type of thing, I don't know if that's a thing.
Yeah.
I'm not huge on being able to say, oh, man, we need to find a position for this guy. Your talent should find a way for you. Your talent and your work should make the way for you, as it has for many other people in those positions. Shane talked about, Jen, this is the clip we was going to go to. It's clip 5 from yesterday. He also talked about the other folks who are playing quarterback behind the presumable quarterback, LaNorris Sellers.
Great competition is what's going on behind LaNorris at quarterback. Dante Reno obviously has been here, and it's his second year in the program. Cutter Woods just got here. Aaron Nolan just got here. And Jimmy Francis, it's his second year in the program, so we're very young at that position, obviously, including LaNorris. I mean, it's only his, third year in the program. So we don't have a number 2 quarterback right now. I think, a lot of you guys are eager to anoint certain people as the backup, and we're all about competition, here as well. So there's great competition. Coach Shula is doing a great job of mixing up the reps of who gets work with that group, and sometimes it's Cutter, sometimes it's Air, sometimes it's Dante, and they've all flashed. I think they've all shown great improvement since the beginning of spring practice, and there's no question Dante's improved since last year. There's no question that Air is getting more and more comfortable. We did a little drive out there today where we didn't script anything, Phil. We just put the ball down and just basically played football like a game, and Air led his series. I mean, he led the offense on I was hoping it was going to be about a 4, 5, 6 play drive, but it ended up being a 19 play drive that he took the team down the field. But I'm really excited about Cutter Woods. You guys that followed him in high school know that he's a winner. This is what he did in high school and comes from a great program up there at West Side with Coach Lane. So I really like the group. We're very young, but there's really good competition going on behind Lenoris right now for sure.
19-play drive?
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
What?
Tapping your helmet. Let me get out, coach. Did they go for it on fourth downs? Like, what are we doing?
I would assume,
it's a very long drive.
That's also a very minimal yards per play average when you're talking about that. But to that point, it is interesting to hear because look, there's no doubt for Lenoir Sellers to be effective this year, the run game has to be part of his game, which opens him up to a potential to, as we saw last year, tweak an ankle, tweak a knee, take a shot to the thigh. Maybe he's got to miss. Maybe he's got to miss a series. Maybe he's got to miss a half. Maybe he's got to miss a game. Heaven forbid. You got to have that guy behind him that they trust, and they do have competition there. Young competition. Cutter Woods is a true freshman. Dante Reno is a redshirt freshman. Aaron Nolan, I believe, is a redshirt freshman. I guess that's why you got Luke Doty in there as a sixth-year guy who's got more combined year. He's got more years than all of them combined.
Sonny, let me tell you about the With Mo Muschamp days. The biggest thing I hear from that is I'm very glad that Shane acknowledged that there is no quarterback competition.
For number one.
Sellers is
Right.
the starter. Like, let's not play that game. We have a solid number one starter. These other guys are competing. I don't know what the optimal outcome is based on who you would want to see. So this is why the spring games are really interesting because we know Lenoris. Lenoris is settled. But then we get a chance to actually see Aaron Nolan with our own eyes. We get a chance to see Dante and Cutter Woods, and we see these guys in game-like performances. So that's why spring games are important to see the depth pieces. And this is a conversation that won't end in the spring. It'll likely go all the way through camp, and we'll figure out who's going to be that second guy.
803-404-6100 is how you can weigh in. We'll get back to some Lenoir Sellers audio here as well in a little while. I'll let you hear what he had to say in very short clips. But coming up next, we'll get back into some basketball, men's basketball portal activity continuing, and we'll talk about what occurred yesterday and maybe what that backcourt looks a little bit more like now. You're listening to Preston Thorne, Bill Gunner, Jen Jensen. It is the early game. Bill Gunner for the men's clinic. Right now, you might be thinking about a lot of things, like what you're going to eat for this weekend or how you're going to get the kids to school, or maybe you're thinking about something with your roof or your finances. You need, guys, to be thinking about your health because as we get older, us men, we tend to just shrug off some of the small things, but you don't need to do that, and you need a place where you can go and have an open conversation about it, and that's where the men's clinic, Dr. Dan Balknight, comes into play. There's nothing generic about you, so why are you settling for general medical care? At the men's clinic, located off of St. Andrews Road in Irmo, you get the experts that know how to make sure you are living your absolute best life and achieving optimal health and wellness. And that requires treating each patient individually. So give them a call if you're experiencing any issues. 803-875-MENS. Again, that's 803-875-MENS. Call Dr. Dan Balknight today and schedule an appointment.
And out there on the highways this morning, we do have an accident that we need to make you aware of, and that's I-20 eastbound at Faro Road, right there at exit 72. So be cautious there, I-20 eastbound, exit 72. And forecast-wise, yeah, it's kind of feeling like summer right now, and which is kind of fun to have a little taste of that. We're looking for a high today of about 88. I'm sorry, not quite 85. That'll make all the difference in the world. 85 today, 87 tomorrow, and 88 on Saturday, back to 85 on Sunday before we drop into the 60s and for your next week, and maybe a little bit of rain possibility on Sunday afternoon. But currently, it's 71 on the early game.
.633 as we get you going. Our begin reminder, we will be down in Darlington tomorrow. The Schroeder's Towing Road Show, getting you ready for the Goodyear 400 coming up on Sunday. And we will be broadcasting live. Look forward to being down there with our good friends from Darlington, Mr. Josh Harris and his whole staff. It'll be us, and then Tyler Head will be down there from 9 to 12 as well. So we'll have plenty of coverage from Darlington as we get you ready for that race. We also get you ready for the women's game coming up tomorrow night, and we've got that for you right here on 107.5 at the game. You'll hear the women's Final Four game against Texas, round 4, Preston Thorne. We'll talk more about that, but you'll hear that right here at 6:30 pregame, 7 o'clock tip-off tomorrow night. And this is where we hope old Lamont Paris can take the men's side. God, can you believe it? And we're coming up on almost a decade since South Carolina made their Final Four run.
Yeah, it happens very, very quickly. You start seeing those pictures and the fashions are outdated. I don't know how it doesn't matter how long ago it was, but if you get to a decade, everything just looks faded. You look at the pictures like, I know we had HD in 2017, I think, but why does this look so old looking? What's going on here? It's just, yes, a long time ago. So, many lives have happened since then.
Many lives have happened, and now we've got to kind of transition and look ahead to next year. And Lamont Paris, I do wonder at what point this past year, I know he's a guy who stays focused, but I do wonder at what point he kind of started going, all right, what are we going to do in 2025, 2026? Where, what point his eyesight kind of peaked over top of the rest of the games he had this year to go into next year. And he has already started by doing a good job. He's landed a good recruiting class. Eli Ellis is the cornerstone of that class, and I guess the guy that is coming in maybe to take the true point guard role. And now you've brought back Meechie Johnson. You've landed Trayshawn Eaglestaff. It looks like you're getting Miles Stute back. And yesterday they get a commitment from Kobe Knox. Of course, everybody knows of the Flying Knox brothers. Carter, currently with John Calipari out at Arkansas. Kevin, who played for John Calipari at Kentucky. And this is brother number 3, Kobe.
Okay. So it looks like Lamont has a strategy of building up this backcourt early, right? As you stated, from the profile, it seems like all of these guys like to shoot.
Yes.
All these guys like to put it up. All these guys like to get a lot of attempts on the bucket. So there's going to be an idea of who's going to turn into what roles are going to be filled, how they're going to fit into what Lamont's system is. Has Lamont changed his system? Does he have a new philosophy going into this year? I don't know. I do think it's interesting as you look at the portal pieces that he's picking up.
Yeah, a couple things that have caught my attention as it pertains to this. One is I know Eli Ellis is a little bit more on the smaller side. I think he's about 6 foot. Meechie Johnson is about 6'2". But they're going back to a bigger, longer team is what this also appears to be, Preston. I've kind of noticed that so far. Now, we are still awaiting the announcement of Colin Murray Boyles. That's another piece to this puzzle. I've seen mock drafts that had him all the way up. I believe it was at number 13 to the Chicago Bulls. I did see another one that had him at like number 8. So I think we're going to follow through on the assumption he is not coming back. You have to kind of do that at this point in time and say we'd be very surprised. But back to this point, you pick up Kobe Knox yesterday, and last year for South Florida, Knox played in 30 games, averaged 28 minutes per game, averaged 10 points per game. He 1.6 assists per game.
Okay.
So he's not looking to set you up. 6'5" wing player. But that's my point. You're going to have Eagle Staff, who's about 6'6", 6'7". You're going to have Studi, who's about 6'5", 6'6". You're going to have Kobe Knox, who's listed, according to ESPN, at 6'5", and again, averaged double digits last year for South Florida. For those wondering, also, 76%, or 76, I'll round up for him. Will be nice. 76.7, so 77% foul shooter from him, and then a lot of games in which, yeah, he does take threes. He's going to take threes. Unfortunately, I can't say he makes a lot of threes.
Okay, that's not the best thing I would want to read on my scouting report.
Yeah,
Like, the car has wheels. Maybe it doesn't roll, but it has wheels.
He cut back on his threes last year. Or excuse me, no, I'm looking at it backwards. He was shooting 4 threes a game last year at 33%. So not awful. 1.3.
That's the average percent, right? If that's something that's where you want to get to.
Yeah.
What's the number? 33 is about a number that feels worthy of you can take more shots. If you're below that, you probably need to have that.
40 of 121 last year.
So does he? If you're 33% shooter, do you have the green light, or do you have the yellow light, or do you have the red light?
I think you got the green light, but
in Bill's offense, Bill's the coach. If a 33% shooter spots up, green, yellow, red.
Basketball IQ is the answer to that question, because if I'm giving you the green, that also means you understand that it's not just like Michi Johnson. He all he sees is green, right?
Correct.
It doesn't matter. It could be 2 guys on him.
Mm-hmm.
There could be a guy wide open under the basket. Michi actually is a good enough shooter that you're like, all right, I'll probably let him take that.
Mm-hmm.
Knox, probably you're like, if you're open, let's take it, okay? If you got some space, let's take it. If there's a guy open under the basket, let's throw it to that guy. Does that make sense? So more maybe a yellow. I'd probably say a yellow.
That's fine. That's
he's got
fair.
a caution. He's got a caution.
That's fair. I like that description. Now, what really matters is we don't know who Kobe is as a basketball player, because when you say phrases like "if you're open," that's left up to interpretation.
Exactly. You define. Let me tell you where you define that. You define that in practice, buddy. You get him on the practice court, and you define that in practice. Last year, he took 8 shots a game at South Florida. He has averaged for his career 6.4. So this is the other part. You've got guys now who you're hoping, Preston, can create their own shot. That is definitely not what South Carolina had last year in that backcourt. They didn't have anybody. Jamari Thomas, you would kind of left. We'd come in here in the morning, and maybe the game from the night before would be on, and we'd be watching the replay on the SEC network. Normally it plays a replay of something from 6 to 7 o'clock, and we'd be watching that replay, and you would just look up, and Jamari Thomas just go flying in the lane at 5'8", and the ball would go up, and normally it would get sent back into the stands or back somewhere else or bound off the rim or backboard, and you would just be like, my goodness.
Did not lack heart. Did not lack heart.
And that's now what you got. You got Michi Johnson, who can create his own shot. You're going to have Eli Ellis, who at least via highlights at the high school level can create his own shot. Trayshawn Eaglestaff can create his own shot, and it looks like Kobe Knox at least is going to try to create his own shot.
Yeah, I think it's, like I said, it's interesting to see he's being very, very active in the portal, and it seems like there's a very deliberate strategy for what they're trying to do.
803-404-6100. So that's what we've got there. Again, as I mentioned, you kind of look around at what Colin Murray Boyle's draft projections are coming out, and they're up there. It would be shocking, I think, if he came back. I guess never say never, Preston, but the bottom line is right now I've seen pretty much a lot of places where he is going in now the lottery. As I mentioned, I saw him on the most recent was 13th, I believe it was, to the Chicago Bulls. So you move on. So that'll be the next piece. Now it feels like Lamont's got his backcourt set. He's also got Christian Polk coming in, another guard out of the mid-Atlantic there. I can't quite remember if he's from D.C. or where, but you've got Christian Polk coming in. So your backcourt's kind of set. Now you got to look at your front court. You've already added One guy, the big guy, 7 foot or 290 pounds, but I think you got to continue to add some athleticism, some rim protectors there with the spots you have remaining.
Yeah, that makes total sense. And as if CMB is a projected lottery pick, you can't let him come back.
Right.
You can't. You got to close the door on him. I love you, son. There's no place for you here.
You do have 2 forwards coming in, E.J. Walker, 6'8", 230, and Hayden Asimian coming in 6'8", 220. So you do have a few more forwards coming in. But personally, I'd like to see them have another rim protector, 6'10", 6'11", that you can roll out there to give yourself height down low. It's kind of like we got to hit a break. It's kind of like having that extra defensive tackle who's only going to play 15 to 20 snaps, if that at most, but somebody you can put out there for 4 to 5 minutes who fouls people and blocks a few shots and grabs a few rebounds. And his mindset is, if I get the ball to score, I don't score. I kick it back out to the guards for them to shoot.
Yeah, yes. And again, so it sounds like you want big men, not tall men.
Yeah.
You want big men.
I want a guy who realizes the only way he scores is if he dunks. If he takes a shot or tips it, he makes the LeBron tip-ins or he dunks. He doesn't shoot. 803-404-6100. We'll come back and wrap up our number 1 here, and we'll get into a little tush-push early game poll. Preston's still stuck on this. We'll follow through. You're listening to the early game. 6:48 on your Thursday morning commute. Get up, get going, get the kids to school, get yourself to the office, and we'll get you through your Thursday here. Preston Thorne, Jen Jensen, Bill Gunner. As we roll along, want to remind you to go to 1075thegames.com's contest tab and sign up for the Gamecock Traditions Over-Under contest. All you got to do is go to 1075thegame.com and click on the contest tab, and you can pick the over or under of the week. And if you pick it correctly and we draw your name, you could win a Gamecock Traditions gift card. And trust me, I've seen some of the stuff they're putting up on social media. It looks pretty cool. I saw a quarter zip the other day, Preston, that I might have to add to the collection. Quarter zips don't work quite the same in baseball as they do in the basketball collection, do they?
Yeah, no, it's not the same. Not the same look.
But go to 1075thegame.com and click on the contest tab. Sign up for the Gamecock Traditions Over-Under contest. If you pick the correct one and we pick you, you can win a gift card. Tush push, huh?
I was say, before you do that, speaking of contests, I just got word that we actually have tickets to the Goodyear 400. So I think, how about right now we give away a pair of tickets? Not trying to throw us off in our scheme here, but, you know, keeping it lively and fun. If you want to go to Sunday's race, the Goodyear 400 at Darlington, get a pair of tickets now, 803-404-6100. Be caller number 5.
Caller number
For Kyle Larson.
5. Okay, all right.
Is that a sneak peek?
I was going to say sneak peek of Jen's pick. All right.
Never going to tell.
And we got to get a little preview of what Jen's got lined up for us tomorrow. Also, when we're down at Darlington. So caller number 5, 803-404-6100. You can go to Darlington coming up on Sunday. All right, Preston, still raging against the tush push.
My position is settled. I think it should not be a football play. However, towards the end of the show yesterday, we had several callers calling in expressing that they feel as if I am wrong. And that's fine. That's okay. We are all reasonable people here. We are able to have this conversation. So I just want to get a gauge for our early game audience. And during the 6 o'clock hour, these tend to be our more serious people. All right. Tush push. Very simply. Yes or no? Yes, keep it. No, ban it. Very simple question. I just want to get a gauge. 803-404-6100. I just want to get a gauge on where people are with this. Yes, keep it. Stop them. You should be able to stop them. It's a football play. No, ban it. Because it's not an actual offensive play. That's me editorializing a little bit.
Trying to sway the vote, okay.
No, just editorializing. My position is very clear. I personally don't think. I think the quarterback sneak is a fine play. I think over the top is a good play. I think the fullback belly is a fine option. We've had several options of these. Up until this point, we haven't decided that we needed to have a play where a extra player assists. Because, see, they don't let us do this on defensive plays. You know, when you're going to kick a field goal, they don't let you line up behind a defensive lineman and push him because they say that's illegal assistance. You can't push him. You can't hit the long snapper. You can't do anything because long snappers aren't actually football players. They're specialists like kickers and holders and punters. They're not actual football players. So you can't even hit them. And they say, oh, you can't line up and put somebody behind a defense lineman because that gains an extra advantage. Well, why does big offense allow somebody to get behind a quarterback who's behind a lineman, so that's all of this mass times force moving forward just to get an inch of a yard? If you're such a tough guy and you want to get an inch of a yard, just line up and get it. You shouldn't need assistance. For all those saying out there, just stop it. Just run it. If we're going to go man to man, if we're going to line up, let's just line up and do this. Why do you need extra assistance? 803-404-6100. Tush push. Yes. Keep it. No. Ban it.
Chris goes yes. John goes yes. Matt goes no. Ray says keep it. Joey from Sumter says no. I'm going to have to go with no. Hugh says no. Walt says ban the tush push. Ugliest play in all of sports. I also can't stand Nick Sirianni. Loser.
I like that guy.
Ray goes with Preston swayed me. Ban it. Daryl says ban it. Pushing is a rugby. And John goes back with offense sells tickets. Defense wins.
I agree offense sells tickets. Pretty offense. The triple option. The deep bomb. The screen pass. Those are pretty plays. The tush push. Not a pretty play. Yes, offense sells because it's beautiful. Isn't it majestic to see a 50-yard bomb in the air, the spiral of the ball, the anticipation of the wide receiver catching the ball? That's a beautiful thing to see. The tush push is not beautiful.
No, it's original football, isn't it? Like the leather helmets and very little shoulder pads, if any. It's basically what I saw from like the old films in the 1910s and 1915s when the forward pass was frowned upon.
Yeah, and one of our greatest political presidents of all time, FDR, had to step in and say, hey, let's try and do something here. Maybe let's get some space. Maybe we can move the ball around because this is killing people. So maybe we should not have to do this. Great book about FDR saving football.
803-404-6100. A couple more of y'all saying texter weighs in. Banks, way too risky for of an injury. Another texter says keep it, but change the name. Another texter goes with yes to the yes to push the NFL is over-regulated. It's becoming powder puff football. Just put the cheerleaders out there before we know it. Another texter says, not sure how I feel about, not sure how I feel on the push, but did you see other teams with variations of it last year, like the Ravens using Mark Andrews instead of a quarterback?
I did. We actually tried that here at USC. We tried that a couple of times. They did some fuddy-duddy business with that. I forget who lined up. Wasn't last year.
We tried in the Ole Miss game. We tried a fake punt to start the game.
We're not talking about that. The tight end from last year that didn't play a lot, he lined up one time at center and tried to take a snap. I forget what.
Brady Hunt.
Brady Hunt, he took a snap from center. Yes, I did see that, and that's fine. One person under center, cool. Okay. No problem with that.
Keep sending them in. We'll continue to monitor the poll.
Let's just get a poll here.
It just looks like a lot of people are going, yes, keep it. So we'll see. That's where we're at right now. But we'll continue to discuss. Coming up in hour number 2, though, we'll get into some chop talk. We'll also listen to Shane Beamer talking about Mike Shula's plans for running Lenora Sellers. Also, Preston's got a rant. And another thing coming up. We got a lot to do. Hour 2 on the way. You're listening to the early game. It is Thursday for the Gunner family. That usually means it is the start of the weekend. And the start of the weekend always coincides with a trip to Old Timey Meat Market. Now, I visit the Lexington store. You can go to the St. Andrews Road store or the South Congaree store, but this much is guaranteed. Whether you go to any of the 3 stores, you're going to find the absolute best cuts of meat to go along with the absolute best prices. Whether you like beef, whether you like pork, whether you like chicken, maybe you like fish, Old Timey Meat Market has you taken care of. Personally, Ansley, my daughter, goes with the salmon. Austin, my son, loves the bacon-wrapped fillets. I always like to go with the Italian chicken skewers. This much is guaranteed. Whatever you pick out is going to be absolutely delicious because the butchers at Old Timey Meat Market only select from the best qualities of meat. So go visit one of their 3 locations, South Congaree, St. Andrews Road in Irma, or the Lexington store, where I can pretty much guarantee you'll run into me this afternoon. Stop by, say hello, and tell them Bill Gunner sent you.
Still working that earlier tie-up on I-20 eastbound there at Faro Road. That would be exit 72. And your forecast, it is summer-like the rest of this weekend into the weekend. Partial clearing today, 86 for the high, 89 tomorrow and Saturday. Saturday is just plain going to be breezy and hot. Come Sunday, 87 for the high with a late-day rain. Some rain coming in on Monday. That ushers in some cooler temperatures, and we will be in the upper 60s, low 70s for next week. But getting that little sampling of the summer temperatures right now. Currently, it is 70 on 107.5 The Game.
Seven a.m. as we roll along on your Thursday morning. And so we'll get you up and get you going here. Get to school safely, get the kids there, get to work safely. We got a big weekend of sports, and 2 weeks from tomorrow, we've got the spring game over at Williams-Brice Stadium. We're going to talk a little more football coming up here this hour as we listen to a little bit of Shane Beamer and also a little bit of Lenora Sellers. So a lot to get to. Again, last night, kind of a nice, quiet night. We're going to discuss this coming up in the next segment, unless you were the Atlanta Braves, who made a questionable decision, Preston Thorne, and we will hit that in our Chop Talk segment. We get that going this year. We'll hit that coming up in the next segment. But spring practice in full effect, and we have had a good bit of quotes this week, and one of the things that we're kind of focusing in on is the quarterbacks today, the backup competition, which is really interesting, and then also maybe the plan a little bit more for Lenora Sellers.
Yeah, we've heard there's some question marks about what the new offense is going to be with Mike Shula taking over the reins as far as the OC is concerned. How often are they going to be throwing the ball? How often are they going to be running the ball? How they're going to be using Lenoris? We do have it settled that Lenoris is the number one quarterback, but what's curious is to see how they're going to actually use him. I believe Shane might have addressed this yesterday.
Yeah, Shane was talking on Tuesday, and during his weekly Tuesday press conference. And Jen, this is going to be clip, I believe it is clip number 9 from yesterday's sheet. This is Shane Beamer talking about Mike Shula's plans for running Lenora Sellers. Again, this is from yesterday's sheet, clip number 9. Here is what Coach Beamer had to say about plans for running Lenora Sellers.
I feel good. It's a little bit different in practice because, we're not going to let him run every time in practice. I mean, usually I'm going to blow the whistle and things like that as well and not get tackled. I mean, we've made him live before, but we're not doing that right now in practice. So there's times where certainly he takes off running and the defense is screaming that they tackled him and that they made a sack. And I just kind of look at them and I'm like, come on, fellas. Like, really? We're still doing this with Lenoris. You didn't make that tackle. But so I'm fine there. He's got a good feel on when to run and when not to run. As far as a passer, I think he's done a good job and continues to improve. He made a lot of big-time throws last season for us, and I've seen him make throws this spring. And you think about it, like he's doing it with a lot of new receivers and new tight ends. Jared Brown's back, Nick Harbor, Mazio, but after that, it's a ton of new faces at the receiver position. Tight end wise, Brady's back and Mo Brown's back, but Jordan Dingle's new. So there's just a lot of new faces out there, and they're trying to get timing down and things like that as well. So I've seen him, certainly grow as a passer, and will continue to. And he's a great playmaker for sure. And I think what Coach Shula was alluding to too is just understanding what's going on, making sure your drop and your footwork are exact and the ball is coming out on time. And then if there's an opportunity to run after you've done all that the right way, then more power to you. We're not against Lenore's running by any stretch of the imagination, but there's times certainly where we, want him to take throws that are there before we run also.
Can you do this training without over-coaching him? Is this a fear? Or I get what they're trying to do. It makes sense what they're trying to do, because they're basically saying, hey, that internal clock, don't let it go off too early and just take off and miss a downfield throw that could be there for a bigger play. Obviously, we know Lenore Sellers. And I'll say this also again, you think about the Texas A&M game, Preston, those were situations in which he got the ball, and as soon as he got the ball, a Texas A&M defender was following the football to him, and he had to duck him.
Wasn't much reading or progressions that was going on for that, for sure.
And that was kind of the same way even in the Missouri game. But with that being said, do you have a fear of overcoaching him and trying to get him to think a little bit too much about staying into his progression?
That's definitely a possibility. I think if you was to make an NFL comparison, I think sometimes you see this with Lamar Jackson, where he's been trying to emphasize and prove so much that he's a quarterback and that he's not a dual threat guy, that sometimes he leaves opportunities on the table because he's trying to go through his progressions and he's trying to make the throw. And I think maybe in his head, he's trying to say that, hey, I'm going to take me seriously as a quote-unquote quarterback. So that is a possibility. That's a fine line that they're going to have to figure out, because there's no doubt that what makes Lenore special is the fact that he can run and he can take off at any moment.
Yeah, I think that to me is kind of, as we discuss this, I do. By the way, I did laugh. He said, what, we're not going to let him run? We don't want him to get hit too much in spring practice, but we will let him jump out there in a special teams drill.
Again, a highly staged, very performative special teams drill. I will say that
because we're all 100% confident that shows up on the propaganda film
for sure. But look at Lenore is taking special teams.
The leader. I'll always go back to the NFL Films voice. Leader of the team, Lenore Sellers, willing to do anything. Play quarterback, jump in on special teams, and then you've got that NFL music behind it that's just kind of happy.
As I said, I don't know who the victim was in this moment. Whoever had the poor fella that had to run the drill. But as I've heard coaches say before, I have a lot of yous. There's only one of him, so be careful.
But to this, I think, in 2 weeks when we watch the spring game, I'll go ahead, go to the spring game. Go treat the spring game like a chance to get out of the house, go to the ballpark, enjoy some football. Don't go with the anticipation of watching. Like, if you're going and you're watching Lenore Sellers to see development, don't go in with high hopes. Because
that time has passed. That was last year.
Right.
That was last year we got a chance to see Lenore and see what he has. He's proven the idea that he's ascended to the idea that he doesn't have to play a lot in spring games.
Right. Yeah. You go with the intention of watching Cutter Woods and Dante Reno. What does Aaron Nolan look like if Luke Doty's playing quarterback? And I say that because you can tell the emphasis here in spring is, hey, even if you take a sack or get touched in this situation, let's have you standing back there and working. We know you can take off. And again, a lot of his runs last year, they weren't designed runs. There was some, obviously, but I really think back to the Texas A&M and the Missouri game in which he was being pressured to the point that there was no time to look downfield. It was, here comes that guy. I better run right or left and break up and get out of the pocket.
Yeah, that's what's going to be interesting about the new offense is how many designed runs will they be, because that's something that they implemented early in the season. If you go back to the LSU game, that busted the game open and gave him an opportunity, that 75-yard run. That is a part of his game that keeps defenses on their heels. And how much will that be a part of Mike Shula's game plan?
So we'll continue talking about that, and certainly we'll let you listen to a little bit of Lenore Sellers. He spoke yesterday, and I think we're going to listen to a little bit of him coming up later on in the program here as he's trying to get the the wording from Lenore Sellers himself. You have to listen quickly. You'll have to be paying attention when he speaks. It goes quickly. 803-404-6100. We'll get into our first edition of Chop Talk, talking about the Braves. And there is, we've only played 8 games, Preston Thorne. 7 games, I believe. And so, yeah, they've played 7. The Dodgers have played 8. The Braves have played 7. There's a lot to talk about through 7 games. A lot is happening in Atlanta right now as they get set to return home to take on the Marlins this weekend. And Preston will set you up with that. 803-404-6100. You're listening to the early game. Yeah, I forgot we got today in the
It's done for CHW Cabinetry in Lexington. The kitchen that we redid, didn't really plan on doing that. It was sort of an emergency, but you know what? CHW Cabinetry made us less stressed out about the whole thing. The process was great. When we finished getting everything picked out, we had that photorealistic rendering that helped us see our finished kitchen before it was even done. Took that picture to pick out everything else as far as flooring and countertops and backsplash and all of that. So it was such a great experience. But I'm telling you, they can do smaller jobs in your kitchen. Maybe you want your pantry a little more organized. Want some drawers in there instead of just the static shelves. They can help you with that. In your closet, the wire hanging racks getting on your nerves. Maybe you want to replace those or get some drawers in your closet space. Maybe you want a home office workspace that you need to build out. Visit chwcabinetry.com or call them today, 803-520-6837. Tell them Jen Jensen sent you. CHW Cabinetry in Lexington, passion from inspiration to installation. And for your Thursday morning, the traffic situation out there isn't terrible. We do have 2 accidents, though, that we do need to make you aware of. Leesburg Road at Trotter and I-20 eastbound at Farrow Road. So do be careful if you would this morning. Temperature-wise, summer-like for the next few days. 86 today, 89 tomorrow and Saturday. And come Sunday, 87, some late-day rain before we get some cooler temperatures next week. Right now, it's 70 on the early game.
$7:15 on your Thursday morning, April the 3rd. Get up, get going. Got a big weekend in front of us. Big baseball series. Preston Thorne, and that leads us into our Chop Talk segment here. We've opened up the season maybe a little bit better than the Braves. Jen, we got some audio from last night that may lead us into where we are at. Let's do a little Chop Talk, and here's a little audio from last night. Otani. All right, we'll get the audio in just a minute here. Yeah, here we go.
High fly ball to center field. Harris is back. Otani, inevitable.
If it was Dodger talk, this would be a great moment. We'd be in here dancing around, bumping chest, all fired up. Shohei would have done it again. It's not Dodger talk.
It's not. It is definitely not. The announcer said inevitable. Just for those that don't know, bottom of the ninth, 1 out, bases empty. The greatest baseball player in the history of the earth comes up to bat. And you're like, I don't know. Let's serve him up a changeup. See if he bites on. I don't know. Let's see. I don't know. But what's the worst that could happen? There you go.
Let's just set some ground rules here. Number one, generally speaking, in this situation, as you just pointed out, generally speaking, number one, you don't pitch to the reigning NL MVP, right? That's
Correct.
just number one.
That's
you
solid.
put him on base.
Mm-hmm.
If they bunt him over, there's 2 outs and he's on second. Let's add a caveat to that. You definitely don't pitch to the reigning NL MVP in the 9th inning, tie game, 1 out, when it's his bobblehead night, right? Like, you combine those 2 things. If that dude is being honored on that night in that situation, that right there is a flashing red flag sign, whatever, that we don't pitch to this fella right here. He might be having a night.
That bobblehead's going to be worth more money than it was worth before because now it's a game-winning. It's not just a regular bobblehead. It's a game-winning bobblehead. Maybe the potential game-winning bobblehead of an unprecedented win season because the Dodgers are 7-0, right? They haven't lost yet.
8-0.
That's correct.
They are 8-0.
I'm sorry. I was thinking of 7 games because the Braves are 0-7.
Yeah.
0-7. I'm sorry. I had them wrong.
Let's start with this statistic. I don't know if you got your stats in front of
I
you.
have plenty of them.
Have you? Where on your statistic rankings does team batting average matter?
If we're going as the worst of these Brave statistics,
I could say it's probably up there with the worst.
We can start with this batting average. Cool.
Braves team batting average. Braves team batting average through 7 games, 4 against the Padres, 3 against the Dodgers. Braves currently batting 151 on the season. This is highlighted by Ozzie Albies at 185, Austin Riley at 111, Michael Harris at 160, Matt Olson is at 182, Marcell Ozuna, who at least has 13 walks. He actually almost has half of the team's walks. They have 29 total. Marcell Ozuna batting 188. That's not the kind of numbers you need. As a matter of fact, there's only one guy who's completely over 200, and that is Eli White, who has 4 at-bats on the season and is 1 for 4.
250. What a good job. He's barely above the Mendoza line. Do the Braves not have a hookup for the torpedo bats? Can we not do something here? Can we figure something out?
I believe they didn't get the torpedo bats. I don't know what is the exact opposite of torpedo bats. The Braves got them.
Well, I'll do you one better than that. That's a bad statistic. Yes, team batting average of 155 last time I checked. Not great, but how about being 1 of 35 with runners in scoring position?
That's bad. That's not going to produce. It does not produce.
That's going to be really difficult. That's going to be really difficult for them to be successful on that. How about the Braves have only had 1 lead, or they've had 2 leads. I'm sorry, they've had 2 leads the whole season.
Well, last night they had
one on opening day.
Okay.
And then they had one last night. Obviously, since they're 0-7. They've lost both of their leads. They haven't been able to hold on to a lead or take a lead in many cases throughout the year.
And here's the thing is this team, again, I go back, the hope meter from the Athletic.
I told you it was shockingly low.
Was low, but here's the thing about I don't think anybody expected. Now, again, who they opened with, it should be said conceivably, depends on where it's early in the season.
Boy, I hear some rumblings. Go ahead.
This is kind of equal to opening with Arkansas and Tennessee.
Okay.
You've opened maybe with the 2 best teams in the National League. The Dodgers are 8-0. The Padres are 7-0. So the teams the Braves have faced are a combined 15-0. Now you get the Marlins. The Marlins are 4-3. That'll be followed up with the Phillies. The Phillies are 4-1, and then that's followed up with a series against Tampa. And Tampa right now sits at 4-2. So at least you're playing teams with winning records, but at least you're playing teams maybe more in your weight classification, much like South Carolina's about to do.
There's nobody in their weight classification. What are we talking about? They are 0-7. They are the worst team in Major League Baseball. You said those teams have how many wins? 4, 3?
Yeah.
There is nobody in their weight classification.
Marlins are 4-3. Remember,
yes.
You were making fun of the Marlins last week, I believe?
Yes. They are at the bottom of the barrel in the whole league right now. And, yes, I know you can get into the conversation about, it's a long season. There's a lot of baseball left to play. Well, that would be true, except no team has ever, in the long, storied history of baseball, started the season 0-8 and made the playoffs.
Oh, really?
So, when we go into this, I'm talking about biggest games of the year, biggest series of the year. Yes, you're right. It is very similar to the Gamecock.
It sounds more like it's not a big series. It sounds like this is the game of the year. You lose this on tomorrow night.
We are here.
You're 0-8.
And no team has ever made the playoffs being 0-8 in Major League Baseball history.
Well, that's not good. So they're 0-7. You get the Marlins tomorrow night over at Truist Park. It'll be a 3-game series for the Braves this weekend, so they come home. They started 0-9, didn't make the playoffs, obviously, to your statistic, but they started the 2016 season 0-9. They are currently 0-7. And again, let me give you kind of what we got going this weekend with them. It'll be Schwallenbach on the mound tomorrow night, followed by Smith Shawver, and then Grant Holmes Sunday at 1:30 for hopefully the rubber match of that series, the game 3, and then you get Monday off before Philadelphia comes cruising into town Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and that's followed by a quick trip to Tampa followed by a trip to Toronto and then Minnesota all the way through Sunday, April the 20th. Preston.
Yeah.
So that's what you look at. It lightens up a little bit, but you're right. The question is, how bad is this team? The batting averages are ridiculous. I mean, that's a crazy statistic to bring up.
That what you're looking for are things that point towards maybe what the rest of the season is going to be like. Yes, okay, again, baseball is a very long season. Things can happen. They do expect to have Acuna coming back. They do expect Spencer Strider to come back. Those are great things. But you don't want to fall this far in the hole and be clawing yourselves out of huge deficits early in the season. So they got to get themselves together.
Lamont weighs in and says the Braves got tugboat bats. Walt joins in on the show and says Brave series, biggest series of the year. That's what Preston's saying.
My guy Walt, you get the show. We're here.
Chris weighs in. Keep telling yourself the Braves will be okay because they have opened with the Padres and Dodgers. With their loss last night, the Atlanta Baseball Club have been officially eliminated from the postseason.
Not yet. One game left.
Rooster P says Rooster P out there traveling around in Alabama this morning. You're telling me the Braves aren't going to be very good this year? That's too bad. Go Reds.
Ellie De La Cruz had a big game with the torpedo bat.
Huge game.
Two nights ago. So, yeah, man, this is you don't ever expect to be having these types of conversations at this point in the season, but we are here, and unfortunately, I don't know. We will see.
Brad weighs in. He questions your statistics. He says nobody has ever made the playoffs starting 0-7. So he's saying 0-7 is the number.
So you're saying it's over?
Chris says they've already been eliminated, and Brad says here's the number.
Maybe we're just holding out hope for one more game, Brad. Maybe. I saw 0-8. I mean, if you told me 0-7, I believe it. That's not a far-fetched idea. So you're saying Ohtani ruined the season for us last night?
That is what some of y'all are seeming to indicate this morning. Is that yes? That Shohei. I get it. I guess I get it. I don't know. I mean, would people be upset if you walked Shohei and he ends up coming in to score? I'm not sure if that is exactly what people would think. But Preston, I do agree with you. My thinking is you don't pitch to him,
just don't pitch
or you don't give him anything to hit. If you throw 4 balls and he swings at one of them and it's 3-1, you're okay. If he swings at 2 of them, it's 2-2. You're like, all right. But if it goes 4-0 and he walks down to first base, you're like, all right. Now we'll take our chances of whomever is up next.
Yeah, and I don't have the lineup in front of me, but I know Freddie Freeman wasn't playing because he slipped in the shower and got hurt, which is, come on, Freddie. Yeah, you just don't pitch to that. You just don't pitch to that guy in almost any situation, but in a specifically bottom of the 9th at home, you have an out already in the inning, so you're close. Put them on, man. That's an easy decision. So I don't know if I put that on Snitker or the pitcher or whoever, but they got to do better than that.
Mookie Betts would have been up next, and you take your,
which goes to my bigger point. The Dodgers are the evil empire, and we probably need to build up our hate on these dudes, but they're just all likable. And so it's tough to dislike all these likable characters. But they are the evil empire.
Yeah.
The way you felt about the Yankees, you should feel about the Dodgers.
Yeah, Shohei Ohtani last night.
They're just all good guys.
They are.
That's
You kind of feel like, yeah, you're like, all right, they're tough to dislike. 803-404-6100 if you want to weigh in. There's some chop talk. Braves 0-7. We'll revisit this next week, but Preston has labeled it Friday night, biggest game of the year, and labeled the entire weekend, biggest series of the year. So does everybody, if they sweep the Marlins, are we all back in?
We can breathe.
Okay.
We can breathe.
We feel good. We're just like, that was the Dodgers and the Padres.
Oh, that was crazy.
We still got to get Strider back. We still got to get Acuna back. We're fine. Sean Murphy's doing it. Sean Murphy hit a home run, I think, Tuesday or Wednesday in his rehab assignment. You kind of go like, all right, we're good?
Load up all those narratives. I'm good.
Okay. All right. There you go. There's some chop talk this morning. We'll be doing that every Thursday here at 7:15. We'll get you set for the Braves weekend with that. If you want to join in, 803-404-6100. We come back. We'll get back into some football. Lenore Sellers spoke a little yesterday. Trust me, we have plenty of time in that segment to let you hear everything he said. We'll do that. It is the early game. Bill Gunner for Mid-State Roofing, where for nearly 30 years, Mid-State Roofing has been the leader in the roofing and waterproofing industry. And with the spring in full effect now, with some heavy rainstorms coming, a few windy days, you want to make sure that that roof is ready to handle the weather, whether it's your home or your business. Mid-State Roofing designs and installs bonded systems with a protective guarantee that'll keep your operation dry and running long into the future. And they do that 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. They are there to help you out. You just need to give them a phone call. You'll speak with an on-call technician or a Mid-State Roofing employee. Again, just give them a phone call, 803-356-1919. It's 7:30 in the morning. But if you had a leak right now at your business or at your home, Mid-State Roofing would be ready to help you. So give them a phone call, 803-356-1919. You also visit them on the web, midstateroofing.com. If you've got a leak, let Mid-State Roofing take a peek.
Early mornings, we have a few issues in Columbia on 20 westbound near I-77. Right around exit 76A, there is an accident. The right lane is blocked. Also, an accident Leesburg Road at Trotter Road. In Ridgeway, the bridge is blocked from Blinkboon Road to Belfield Road and Ridgetop Lane as well. Back in Columbia, I-20 between I-26, exit 64, Broad River Road, exit 65. There is construction, obviously, like usual. Also construction I-26, Bush River Road near Old Sandy Run Road as well.
7:35. Want to remind you, go to our website, 1075thegame.com, and click on the Sweet Deals tab and purchase your spring craft beer card. We debuted it last Friday out at our 1075 The Game golf tournament. It is only $59. That's about a $300 savings. Again, to purchase your spring craft beer card, go to 1075thegame.com, click on Sweet Deals, and you can purchase your brand new craft beer card. Again, just $59. It's a savings of about $300. 803-404-6100 if you want to weigh in. A couple more comments coming in. Texter weighs in, says you can't call the Dodgers the evil empire because they have no face of evil like the Yankees did with George Steinbrenner, who a lot of people in baseball hated.
That's the problem. That's kind of that's the whole issue. They don't have a bunch of all of those guys are very likable. The stories are all right. I mean, I'm sure you could dig and find some stuff, but just on the surface, it's tough. I will find a way though, because any team that has a payroll that they have, the rest of us shouldn't like them. It should be very clear.
Okay. All right.
I say the rest of us as a Braves fan who we have a pretty significant payroll, but we just stink.
And another texter weighs in. So are the White Sox at 2-6 better than the Braves?
At this moment, yes. Every team in the league is better than the Braves at this moment.
Yeah.
Baseball's a long season. We'll see how it goes, but yeah, I don't know.
So we've got that. All right. Yesterday, Lenore Sellers talked to the media, a man of many words, a guy who would fit right in on this radio show and just be able to carry his own conversation. Do you want to interview Lenore Sellers? Is that direction you want to go?
Well, I was looking at how this was going to work with Lenore's not giving us a lot. And so he kind of runs down some of the topic du jour of the spring. And so let's go with this one, Terry. Let's see what Lenore, how do you feel about your new quarterbacks? I mean, your new wide receivers that are in the room with you?
It's different. They're younger guys. And then, it just takes time for them to adjust. Got to get used to that, and then just work on them, making sure they're good, make sure their confidence is high, stuff like that. So.
Okay, Lenore. Well, how about the other quarterbacks that are in the room with you?
No, it's fine. So I knew Cutter from high school. We trained together with Coach Ramon. So, that was nothing really new, just Air. Air's a cool guy from Ohio State. He's from Atlanta. I think I trained him before, too, a while back. So, it wasn't nothing brand new, but we just got it rolling.
Awesome, Lenore. What about the running backs?
They're all powerful. They're all strong guys too. Kind of remind me of Rocket, to be honest. Just came from different schools, older guys, but still asking me questions, even though I'm younger than them. All that, just.
Well, Lenore, you're also going to be playing with a new offensive line, and you're going to have a new center. What do you think about that?
Pretty much in January, just getting extra snaps, talking to him, getting to know him, getting to meet him, stuff like that. And then just practice, just asking him what he sees when he's micing certain people, stuff like that. So.
Thank you for your time, Mr. Sellers.
Well, we've got one more.
We got
to ask him about him. Lenore, how are you doing with improvements at the quarterback position?
Yeah, just footwork, timing, anticipation, just really trusting my arm, knowing I can make these throws, just having to go out there and do it. So.
And then, of course, let's wrap it up. Lenore, I know since the Clemson game, your life has changed. That was an incredible play you made. You got in there. You made the play that mattered most. How much has life changed since that Clemson game?
It's been, people coming to me all the time, ask for pictures and stuff, ask for autographs. Just in public is very different, but it's fine.
It's fine, man. It's whatever.
They're all good. I don't know. What do you guys want? I got stuff I got to do. I got places I got to be, man. I'm Lenore Sellers. What do you want? And I thought, and you guys weren't around. I had to try and interview Connor Shaw at times.
Yeah, now Connor was definitely a man of very few words, for sure.
Yeah.
And listen, man, this is who Lenore is. This is who he is. One of the benefits of him being the quarterback is you can look, and it's wild how we do this as the narratives develop. When things were not going well, you look on the sideline, he has the same expression. Mm-hmm. Everybody's like, oh, he doesn't care. I want my guys to be intense. Why isn't he getting in somebody's face? When things go good, the best we got out of Lenore was a 1985 ball spin that he did at Clemson when he scored a touchdown. The best you could come up with was, I'm going to spin the ball. this is who he is as a quarterback. And I think there's some positives to that, having a guy who's even killed like that at the quarterback position, especially when everybody else around him, it allows everybody else around him to be sort of up and down. If you have somebody who's straight down the line, that can be a very positive thing.
No, I'm with you on that. And, again, he is, I think, the unquestioned leader. Does that seem fair? The unquestioned leader of the team. This is his team. Definitely his offense. But would you say that? I mean, I'm trying to think across the board who else you'd have on that team, on that let's just start with the offensively, that is the guy. Like Rocket Sanders was an older guy last year. Maybe you looked at one of the offensive linemen that was an older guy that you trusted. But this year it is Lenoris, and I think you kind of also say he is the voice, the face. I think he's the voice. Maybe he doesn't speak enough, but the voice, the face of the locker room.
Well, he has one characteristic. He's the best player on the offense.
Okay.
And so you would like for your best player to be the leader. He has a pretty clear, moral center. Everybody knows where he stands on things like that. So he's consistent in those things. I don't know whether the vocalization, I don't know what that's like in the locker room or at practice, but he seems to be a guy that people will line up behind. So he has all the qualification. It doesn't matter if he doesn't talk to us or the media.
Petty? There's the whole story about I guess the winter workouts. I don't think you had arrived yet, and him yelling. Something was happening with who is the
winter workouts, and he tells the team that I haven't heard. I mean, that's a great story,
right?
But that's not why Phil was the leader. Phil was the leader. Phil's thing was Phil was the leader off the field. He's the one that got everybody together. Everybody wanted to gather around him, and he was sort of a politician in a way he could work around different rooms, and that's what you also want to have as a quarterback, somebody who is available to everybody, and everybody wants to help that guy succeed.
803-404-6100, how you can weigh in. We'll come back. Preston's ready to make a rant. He's got another thing.
Yeah, I do. In the midst of all of the changes that happened yesterday with the NFL rule changes, we glanced over something that I think is dramatic.
We will get to that when we come back. You're listening to Preston Thorne, Bill Gunner. Terry Ford now hanging out. We might even ask him a question. He's joined us, filling in for Jen Jensen, who is doing some work. So we will roll along this morning. Again, Bill Gunner, Preston Thorne, Terry Ford. It is the early game. Bill Gunner for AAA Heating and Air. It is that time of year where you're not real sure what to do with your heating and air unit. You don't know whether to cut the air on, to cut the heat on. It might be chilly at night. It might be hot during the day. I think Jen's telling us it's going to be like in the 80s for the next several days. It is a wild, wild time. But with AAA Heating and Air, if your heating or air unit is on the fritz, is having issues, guess what? With AAA Heating and Air, they'll make sure that you get a great deal. That's right. They have guaranteed financing. You heard that right. Guaranteed financing. And they have a 15-year parts and labor warranty. You just need to give them a phone call and get a free replacement estimate and find out what it's going to cost to get a brand new heating and air unit. That's what AAA Heating and Air did for me just about 2.5 years ago, and it has worked perfect since they put it in. So call AAA Heating and Air today and tell them Bill Gunner sent you. 803-677-1500. Call AAA Heating and Air. Say you heard it with Bill Gunner on 107.5 The Game. Let me tell you what all's going on here with 107.5 The Game. We got a busy weekend for you and want to keep you updated. It starts tomorrow, 6 a.m. Myself, Jen, Preston, we will be down in Darlington for the Schroeder's Towing Road Show. That'll be followed up by Tyler Head and the Extra Point being live from Darlington as well. So tomorrow morning, the Schroeder's Towing Road Show, 6 a.m. to noon. We are live from Darlington Raceway getting you ready for the Goodyear 400. And then listen closely. Coming up tomorrow afternoon, women's basketball, the Final Four game, pregame will start 6:30 right here on 107.5 The Game, right here. The baseball game will be air on 98.5 WOMG. Again, baseball tomorrow, if you're looking for that. 6:45 pregame, 7 o'clock first pitch, 98.5 WOMG. That's what's happening on 107.5 The Game. Wrapping up our number 2 on a Thursday morning. Want to remind you, go to our website, 1075thegame.com, and register for this weekend's Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union Grand Slam giveaway. The Gamecocks head out to Starkville. And we'll talk a little bit about that tomorrow morning in the biggest series of the year. Yes, that's right. We're doing that once again. The biggest series of the year. But you need to be registered because the current pot is $375. And if a Gamecock batter hits a grand slam, you could win all the cash in the pot. The pot goes up $25 every game, and right now it's sitting at $375. You can't win if you're not registered. Go to 1075thegame.com, sign up for the Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union Grand Slam giveaway. You are ready. You're on to something. I missed this, and I'm interested to hear this segment. Sometimes when I look at our rundown and I've missed something, I'm very interested to hear what's going to be said, and it appears we have missed something.
Well, in the conversation about the NFL changing some rules, a lot of things were changed. They tabled, obviously, the tush push, which for those that are just joining us, I think the tush push should be banned. You can join in and think what you think, 803-404-6100. They changed the kickoff rule, moving the ball up to the 35 if you get a touchback. So that is going to significantly increase the amount of kickoffs that happen. I think that's probably a good change. They're working on tweaking that rule. But underneath that, they slipped this in. And I told you this was going to happen, Bill. I told you this was going to happen. We've seen this from a mile away. The NFL will now move to the Hawkeye system.
Okay.
What is the Hawkeye system, you might ask? The Hawkeye system is a set of cameras placed around the stadium that will automatically measure first downs. Now, I ask you that. I say that to say this. Bill, if you look in the storied history of South Carolina football, Jadeveon Clowney is known for what?
The hit.
The hit.
Yeah.
But real people who know ball know that the only reason that the hit was important was because of what, Bill?
One of the wildest missed calls I've ever seen.
It was a missed call because of what, Bill?
The chain crew.
What happened with the chain crew?
I don't know if they were a yard off or a yard long or what.
That's right. The chain crew walked over, as they do in procession, put the chain down, the camera zoomed in, you saw the ball, and what did they say?
About another inch and a half.
About another inch and a half. Steve Spurrier goes crazy on the sideline. He's pointing. People are looking at the ball. People can clearly see, and it was a dramatic moment. That moment would never have been possible now with our bland, dry, efficient, automatic chain system that is going to be happening now. This is a move towards efficiency for all you who want the more replays, more efficiency. You want everything to be more accurate. It's going to be all of those things, but it's going to be boring. It makes the game more boring when you put these automatic cameras out there. They put the ball down, and now the cameras get to decide whether it's a first down or not. Taking out all of the drama of sports, making it into a science project
so they're
instead
not
of an art project.
There will no longer be a legitimate chain crew over there?
There will be a chain crew for this year. But, Bill, you know how this goes.
We're coming down to
anytime this business can look to cut expenses, you think that they're going to be trying to keep a chain crew around? No, they're going to automate it and move it to the cameras. And if we didn't have the chain crew, we wouldn't have Shane Beamer talking about the chain crew eating hot dogs at the game last year. All of the great things that happen with chain crews being removed from the NFL. Bill, this is a travesty, and we're just going to let it happen. Baseball is going that way. We saw the ABS, the automatic ball system. Oh, yeah, it's just for spring training. Don't worry about it. We're still going to have umpires. Okay. All right. Making the game boring, making the game dull. More efficient, more accurate, more boring.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you'd still think that they could just put a chip in the football, I think, to get instead of having the cameras all around the state. So does this mean now that basically when we question a first down, will they run the chain gang still out there, or will they go to a replay monitor to look at the Hawkeye system?
I think they're just going to go to a replay monitor.
So the chain group is really just there for the players.
Yes.
So that they now know where kind of the first down is.
Yes.
So there's just two dudes standing over there kind of getting a free ticket to the game.
Just holding this in because they're not going to be of consequence. Now we're going to see how this works. It will save 40 seconds per measurement. I'm already here for 4.5 hours for this football game anyway. What is this another 40 seconds going to do? And in the process of saving that 40 seconds, you're taking away the highest drama aspect of the game. There's nothing better, Bill, than you see the chains come out.
These are not athletic guys bringing the chains out, too. So
the chains come out. The ball is down. Everybody says the same thing. Oh, that's short.
Everybody stands around it. Yeah.
It's short. Oh, we got it. All of those moments. And now we're just going to look up like a bunch of lifeless drones, look at the Hawkeye system, and it's going to tell us in 30 seconds, and yay, we saved 30 seconds and made the game dramatically worse. Bad call, NFL. We need more chain crews.
Strong. Totally understand.
That's all I'm gonna say.
What was your favorite chain moment at University of South Carolina as you were standing watching? Do you remember?
I'm sure we've had them. I'm sure you had them. But that's the thing about the chain crew. They happen all the time. Is it a first down? Is it short? 3rd and inches? 4th and long? We're not even going to get the dreaded, it's 4th and 1, but it's a long one.
Oh, yeah. That is a fun.
What about that? Where's that going to go now?
We're going to have to find something else.
We're not even going to have a long. Ooh, but it's a short one.
Hour 3 on the way. It's the early game. All right, we got some traffic to tell you about. Y'all are out there bumping and colliding with each other all morning. We don't need you doing that. Let's try and take care of each other. We got a couple accidents to report here. I-20 westbound at I-77. That's going to be at exit 76A. Another accident, West Columbia, I-26 eastbound at Airport Boulevard and exit 113. Another one to report, because you guys keep running into each other. Blythewood, I-77 south at Blythewood Road, exit 27. And one more, Leesburg Road and at Trotter Road. So a couple of accidents for you, Leesburg Road and Trotter Road, Blythewood, I-77 south at exit 27. West Columbia, I-26 east at Airport Boulevard, exit 113, and I-20 westbound, I-77, exit 76A. It's going to be a beautiful day out there. You're listening to Bill Gunner, Preston Thorne. It is the early game. 8 a.m. on a Thursday morning as we roll along. Terry Ford stepping in to help out. Jen off to Darlington to get us ready for tomorrow morning where we will be down there. Myself, Preston, Jen, Tyler Head will be down there at 9 a.m. and we will get you up and get you going live from Darlington. A busy, busy, busy sports weekend. But before we get to that, since Terry's here, hey, did we get like a T-shirt or a popsicle or a Pop-Tart or like anything for finishing second in that sports of the year, sports show thing of the year that they just, the little promo they just played that Jen congratulated on being second? Did we get anything for that?
No, you didn't. I did.
Oh. I hope you're
Strawberry
using that
Pop-Tarts,
raise
frosted.
conveniently then.
Well, I mean, it was addressed to you guys, but somehow it got in my office and it just never left.
Yeah.
It's
All
good.
right.
Keep it. We don't want second place mementos anyway. Keep it.
I'll take a second place for them if you got one.
Bill just wants food.
If you got, yeah, if you, anything you got, anything you got, I'll take. All right, let's get you going here. It's going to be a busy, busy, busy weekend. And again, I want to remind you, for those of you tomorrow who tune in, we will have the women's basketball game tomorrow night right here on 107.5 The Game here in Columbia. That pregame will start at 6:30. Game time, round four, Preston Thorne for Dawn Staley's team against Texas. The three games, they're different. South Carolina dominated the two that were not played in Austin, Texas. They won here convincingly by 17. They won the SEC tournament game in Greenville that Vic Schaefer complained about being more of a home game for South Carolina. They lost on the road in Austin, Texas. I believe that was a Sunday, if I remember correctly. And that was a game in which Texas was geared up for. And I think that was another one where you applauded the Texas students, the Texas fan base, for not storming the floor.
Yeah, they acted like they had been there before. I thought that was really cool because they were a team, I guess, of destiny, and they expected to be here, and now look at them, they're here. So I thought that was really cool that they did not storm the court because they beat the women's team, because I think they knew they had a good team. But obviously, Dawn and Vic have a long, storied history in this series, whether it's just this year or years in the past. You know, our first championship was over Vic and Mississippi State. That was a huge so they know each other. It's not going to be a lot of strangers.
It's not Dawn and Kim Mulkey.
Yeah, and that's another good point also. It feels as if there's a level of mutual respect and warmness in this relationship. Obviously, they want to beat each other, but it does feel as if they have a level of high respect for each other.
So they will. We'll have that for you right here. That will be broadcast on 1075thegame.com, so you can watch on television and you can listen to Brad and the crew call the game right here on 1075 The Game. Again, that will be pregame starting at 6:30 tomorrow night. 7 o'clock will be tip-off for that. Also, tomorrow night, baseball gets going, and we have labeled it, we've deemed it the most important series of the year. And I don't think that's, we are funny and silly and dramatic, but we're not being dramatic on that one. This is a series. You win this series against Mississippi State starting tomorrow, I'm willing to kind of overlook the fact that, fine, you aren't a top 10 team. You lost to number 1 Tennessee. You lost to number 2 Arkansas. I think Clemson's number 6 now. Oklahoma's number 10. You are in those games. You're 1-11 against those 4 top 10 teams, and that's not good. That's not South Carolina baseball. But I'm willing to accept for this year and this year only, that's not where South Carolina baseball is. You win this series, you go to Texas A&M. Guess what Texas A&M series is? Because Texas A&M is 1-8. They're struggling. South Carolina's 1-8 in conference. Mississippi State's 1-8. There is a real reason to say that this is the season-defining series. You get swept or you lose the series. I will never say you can't come back from it, but the road is basically uphill on ice without shoes.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. Yeah, if you lose this series, the narrative that we've been previously trying to comfort ourselves with is null and void.
Yeah.
You just have to look at yourself in the mirror and say, we're not a good team.
Right.
And that still may be true, even if you win this series, but it feels a little bit better to get some W's behind you.
So we'll have that for you, that series starting 6:45 tomorrow night, but that'll be on 98.5 WOMG is where you can hear that. So you could even put WOMG on and listen to the baseball game while watching the basketball game. Also, we've been talking Atlanta Braves this morning because, oh boy, much like South Carolina baseball, the Braves are pushing up on it. Now, we got a text in. I'll have to go back to this text here a little while ago. We got a text in, and what it was a tweet that was put out there because Preston, you mentioned it. You said you had seen where 0-8, a team who started the season 0-8, never made the playoffs. And we got a text in, and it basically was a picture, a screenshot of a tweet that said no team that started 0-7 had ever made the Major League Baseball playoffs. And last night, the Braves, for reasons a little unknown, decide, well, we're going to pitch, tie game, bottom of the ninth, 1 out, nobody on. We're going to pitch to the reigning NL MVP and a guy who's having bobblehead night, the bobblehead is holding the MVP. And Shohei Ohtani lives up to every bit of it and smashes a home run to center field.
Yeah,
a no-doubter, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, come on, man. This guy is incredible. He's arguably one of the best baseball players ever in history. You don't pitch, like you said earlier, throwing 4 junkies. If he swings at 1, fine. If he takes 4, cool. Put him on base, and hey, you want to put Mookie Betts on too? Fine, whatever. It's the bottom of the ninth. Let's figure something out. You ever heard those stories? I've heard those stories about how they would walk Barry Bonds with the bases loaded sometimes because it's just like, we're not going to do this. Right? Rather give up 1 run than 4 runs. That just seems like a very bad managing, pitching decision, whatever the case was. I don't know whether it's execution or whether it was managing. Very bad overall to make that pitch to that guy in that moment.
Yeah, this was Kevin Keneally, I believe is how you say his name. He put out a tweet last night. The Braves officially start the season 0-7 after being swept by the Dodgers and Padres. No team in MLB history has ever made the playoffs after starting the season 0-7. It has been 42 years since any such team has even finished with a winning record after starting 0-7. Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. Big series for the Braves. Preston is already calling it the series of the year.
1,000%
for the Braves as they take on the Marlins, and then because following that you get the Phillies and then the Tampa Rays next week in 2 series. So Phillies will be at home, Rays will be on the road, and those teams seem to be playing pretty well. So huge series coming up for the Braves for them after last night. We've talked a little spring football this morning. Lenora Sellers spoke yesterday, but we've kind of focused in on the quarterbacks a good bit today. Preston, I feel like the 2 topics that we've kind of really focused in on is the run game for Lenora Sellers, but also the backup. We know Lenora Sellers is the starter. Shane Beamer's been clear about that. There's no discussion.
Glad we're doing that.
His team. He is the face of the team. He's the leader of the team. It'll be his team. But the backup situation is really, really interesting. You're huge on winners.
I am.
And Cutter Woods is a winner. Look at what he did up at Westside. He is an absolute winner. He might not have been the 4 or 5-star recruit that some guys have been, but Cutter Woods was a winner. He's a true freshman. Air Nolan comes in as an elite-level recruit after going to Ohio State for a year. He's here now. Dante Reno was another guy that was considered kind of a winner, maybe a little under the radar. He's there competing, and it appears old man Luke Doty also in that room competing.
Yeah, and I think the number one goal of this spring is to come out of it with a tighter race for who's going to be the number 2 quarterback. So now it's wide open. There's probably 3 or 4 guys who are competing. I think you want to come out of this spring with maybe 2 guys competing for that second position. And then that'll go into the fall, and then you get 1 guy after that. So it'll be a process. I don't think anything, in my mind, the best case scenario is not settled at the spring, because that means everybody's still competing and it's still an open competition.
And that, if you're looking for a real good reason, we talked about it, the spring game not being televised. I think if you're looking for a storyline and you're looking for a real good reason to go to the spring game, it is to see the backup quarterbacks. Like, I got to be honest. If I do go, it's going to be RBC Heritage Weekend, and spring games, as I'm getting older, are becoming more and more boring. But I might head down to the RBC Heritage. But if I go, the storyline for me is I want to see, all right, that's fine. Give me Lenora Sellers for a series or 2. I don't need to see him because what he's going to do, they're going to have him stand back there and throw the football. They don't want him to run at all, not because of injury, but because this is what they want to work on. So you're not going to see what you would really see against Virginia Tech. But I will get to see, and I think you make them live, by the way, Preston.
That's fine.
You got 4 of them. I think you put the actual jerseys on them, and you say if they get tackled, they get tackled. The 4 backups there, that includes Luke Doty, and you let 2 and 2 and 2 and 2 on each team, and you give them all snaps. You let Aaron Nolan go against Cutter Woods, and Luke Doty go against Dante Reno or some form or fashion.
Yeah, I think that's a great reason why you would want to attend these games, because you can't who you gonna believe, me or your lying eyes, right? You can see them with your eyes and make your own assessments as opposed to just hearing from the coaches and the coaches are saying everybody's progressing, they're making their throws, blah blah blah. That's great, but let me see what you're actually talking about because I have no idea what Aaron Nolan looks like. I could not pick him out of a lineup.
I feel like he's a point guard. I feel like he looks like the body of a point guard. I'm expecting like 6'2", wiry. Like
that's fair.
Take you off the dribble and dunk on you. That's just in my mind what I've got.
That's fair. I have no idea what he looks like. I couldn't pick him out of a lineup. I haven't bothered to go watch his whole high school clips because he's not somebody that was on our radar during recruiting. So it'll be very much a surprise for me to see what he looks like on the field and if he lives up to the hype that he's had coming into the season.
803-404-6100. So we've talked a little spring football as well this morning. And, of course, yesterday, South Carolina picks up another basketball transfer, 6'5", 200-pound wing. Kobe Knox transfers from South Florida, averaged 10 points this past season, shot about 33% from three-point range. You add him now to a backcourt that is going to involve Eli Ellis. It's going to involve Michi Johnson. We believe it'll involve Miles Stute, who appears to have gotten the necessary approval to come back. It'll involve Trayshawn Eaglestaff. So it's going to be an entirely different backcourt. We no Jamari Thomas. No Arden Conyers, who, by the way, announced his decision to transfer to Charlotte yesterday. No Cam Scott. No, who else am I leaving that was back there?
Those are the three that I could specifically think of. Well, and then Jacoby Wright's graduate. He's out.
No Jacoby Wright.
We think he's out of eligibility.
Yeah.
We don't know how the eligibility rules are working.
Jamari Thomas is playing fast and loose with eligibility rules.
We think Jacoby is out of eligibility. So yes, the backcourt will be totally remade.
You'll have Morris. We believe Morris Ugasuk will still be there, and Grant Polk is another freshman, 6'7", about 195-pound wing coming in. I do think they do need to get into the portal and find another point guard, a legitimate point guard, because Michi played his best when Talon Cooper was the point guard and he was off the ball. And you'll have Eli Ellis, but I think you've got to go get an experienced, true distributing point guard. A guy kind of like Talon Cooper, who he will catch and knock down an open jumper if he's open.
If he has to.
But his role is to distribute to all these guys who are going to want to be getting shots up and off. Yeah. Somebody who understands coming down and a guy on your right and a guy on your left going, ball.
You just got to ignore all of them. Like, man, no. Yeah. So, I mean, there's going to be a lot of guys who want the ball and who can shoot and are going to be putting up. So you're right. I do think Lamont is still in the portal. I'm sure we don't know where the process is, but that seems like a piece that they need.
Yeah, so that'll be the next piece. We will continue talking about that. Also, real quick, let's give a shout-out. Last night, Ashley Chastain Woodard's team continues to roll.
Oh, awesome.
2-0 over Wofford. Gamecocks still at number 10 in the country, according to Gamecocks Online. That is 3 straight wins for them. They have now won 4 of the last 5. Again, their first series victory down in Baton Rouge since 1997 over LSU, taking 2 of 3 on Sunday. Again, they knock off Wofford. And we spoke of baseball this weekend. We spoke of the women's basketball. If you want to go check out a great series, number 19, Mississippi. Another ranked matchup. That's what you get with the SEC. Number 19 ranked Mississippi comes into town to take on South Carolina over at Beckham Field. That'll get going tomorrow night at 6 o'clock, a noon game on Saturday, and a 3 p.m. game on Sunday. But congratulations to women's softball last night for knocking off Wofford 2-0. 803-404-6100. We'll come back. I see he is calling in. He at the 107.5 The Game moped has gotten Elijah Campbell to Tampa. We'll catch up with him and get our Final Four update from Elijah Campbell when we come back. You're listening to The Early Game. Bill Gunner for Mid-State Roofing, where for nearly 30 years, Larry Leitner and the family have been the proven leader in the roofing and waterproofing industry. And it's that history that is your assurance that their professionals will provide proper advice, service, and results to the needs of your facility. And they're going to do it in a manner both safe and pleasing to you and your operation. So whether it's a high-rise or a hospital, manufacturing or industrial, Mid-State Roofing designs and installs bonded systems with a protective guarantee that keeps your operation dry and running long into the future. And guess what? They do this 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. That's right. You can give them a phone call at any time, and you will speak with a Mid-State Roofing employee or a Mid-State Roofing on-call technician. Just make that phone call, 803-356-1919. Again, that's 803-356-1919. Call Mid-State Roofing today. Tell them you heard it on 107.5 The Game with Bill Gunner. All right, y'all are running into each other out there, and we got problems. So let me tell you all about them. Pay attention so you can navigate getting to work or wherever you got to go. We got another accident now in Richland, I-20 eastbound at I-77, exit 76A. Somebody's run into somebody at I-20 eastbound at Two Notch Road, and that's exit 74. We got another one in Kershaw, I-20 west at White Pond Road, exit 87. The whole left lane is currently blocked. And then we're still dealing with our tie-ups from earlier. Leesburg Road and Trotter Road, Blythewood, I-77 south at Blythewood Road, exit 27. West Columbia, I-26 eastbound at Airport Boulevard, exit 113. And then I-20 westbound at I-77, exit 76A. So many traffic things to report, we almost don't have enough time. Drive safer. 8:21 on a beautiful Thursday morning. About to head out to a charity golf tournament here in a few minutes. But first, let's get out to the phone lines. Elijah Campbell has gone from Greenville to Columbia to Birmingham, now to Tampa, the final stop on his tour of all the great places that the women have taken us. And Elijah Campbell, Tampa's a pretty good way to wrap things up.
I would say it's an ideal place to wrap this thing up. It's going to be like in the 80s all weekend, too. It's going to feel nice. I mean, Tampa in April, Phil, is a pretty scenic spot. I would say this is a little bit of a slight upgrade than Birmingham this past weekend.
It sounds like a significant upgrade for you from Birmingham. Better restaurants. Yep, you can maybe take your Saturday off and go out to Clearwater Beach and check out all the scenery there and catch the Final Four, and then be back over at the arena on Sunday, hopefully for the championship. So let's ask you, you down there, you get the vibe. How is the vibe down there from these four teams? This is a really good Final Four. Texas, UCLA, and UConn. Should be a good crowd. UConn's going to travel well. I'll be interested to see what UCLA and Texas bring, but, you know, the FAMs are going to make the trip down, and it'll either be a home game, probably a home game. Preston, you think for UConn, UCLA? For UConn, it'll be the home game. For South Carolina, Texas, a home game for South Carolina?
That sounds fair.
You agree with that, Elijah?
I think so. Yeah, absolutely. We know this fan base travels as well as anybody, and you don't get the sellout records that South Carolina's gotten, and you don't get the home court advantage away from home the way you got. I mean, in Birmingham, it was
sounds like we lost Elijah there. We'll have to see. There he is.
Like home games. Oh, yeah, it felt like home games in Birmingham for those Sweet 16, the Elite 8 games. And I think what we're going to see Friday night's going to feel like a home game. Like, yeah, Texas is a historically great women's basketball program, but that fan base doesn't travel like South Carolina's fan base. So, I mean, I think you're going to have a real advantage there. You get past Texas and you get UConn in the championship, the environment you're going to get on Sunday would be incredibly special, awesome for the sport.
So I sometimes find myself traveling down some rabbit holes on X or whatever social media, and I'm getting the prevailing feeling, and I'm not trying to create a narrative here, but I'm getting the feeling like the winner of the game versus Texas and South Carolina is going to be viewed as the underdog in the championship game. Am I wrong on that, or is that a feeling, or am I totally off base?
Oh, I think that's accurate, and I actually agree with that sentiment, too. I mean, even if you just look at it from a transitive property perspective of, okay, well, South Carolina's beaten Texas. Like, this should be the easier game compared to what the championship is. And the two teams on the other side of the bracket are teams that beat you by double figures during the regular season. One of those games was at home, where South Carolina never loses. So you just look at that. Then the sports books will line up in favor. But also what UConn and UCLA do are two things that I think give South Carolina a lot of trouble. UCLA has a lot of size. Like, Lauren Betts is the most dominant big in the game right now. And if you look at what UConn does in the fast break and how fast they play, even though that's a style I think that is more suitable to what South Carolina does when they're playing at their best, is playing that type of up-tempo basketball. UConn just gets out in transition and they shoot so well that they could beat anybody. You know, that like there's a reason that, on Bart Torvik with the number one offense and defensive special team in the country. And a lot of that is because they are so much better than almost anybody else at getting out in the break. They have the elite point guard in Paige Beckers, that Sarah Strong's playing about as well as anybody in the country right now. AZ Fudd has emerged as a superstar as well. I think that type of just next-level star power for anybody else out South Carolina would think of UConn as a favorite in that game. I know here locally, watch if you don't expect Dawn Staley to lose this game. You just get that point where if she's in a national championship game, she's winning it, right? Like we just gotten to that point mentally in South Carolina. But I think from a national perspective, I think the winner of that UCLA-UConn game will be the betting favorite on Sunday.
So what I would ask you is, where is South Carolina, where in your opinion is South Carolina kind of playing right now in terms of Are they playing their best basketball going into this? Were they playing better early on and they've kind of worked their way to just where they're good enough to be here? Is this a South Carolina team that comes in, I guess, playing their best basketball season of the year?
Defensively, yes. Offensively, not even close. If you go on, one thing I like about, the Bart Torvik website is you can kind of filter out efficiency numbers by date. And if you start, the date at the day of the second round game against Indiana, South Carolina is 41st in the country in offensive efficiency. It wouldn't be acceptable during the regular season when all 360-plus teams are playing Division I basketball. It's less acceptable when you realize only 99 teams have been playing Division I basketball since then, if you account for the other tournaments that are not the NCAA tournament. So 41st is pretty jarring. The offense isn't operating the way it should be, and you just had back-to-back games in Birmingham where you scored 0.9 points per possession against Maryland and then 0.87 against Duke. Now, you still were able to win because defensively you're still the best team, I think, in America on that side of the basketball, that side of the floor. But offensively, they're not shooting a ton of threes, which I think doesn't really maximize your offensive output. If you look at the 9 fewest three-point attempts in the game that the South Carolina team shot all year, 4 of those have come in the postseason. 4 of those 9. So they're not getting a lot of great three-point looks. And your bench isn't producing like it was in the regular season. Between Malaysia and Joyce and Tessa, they combined for only 9 points against Duke. If you had told me before the game that Duke's bench unit would outscore South Carolina's 24-9, I would tell you that South Carolina was probably going to be in some trouble. And guess what? They found themselves in some trouble because you're not getting the production from the bench that you were in the regular season, and that's carried them in a lot of games. Defensively, they're still as good as anybody, better than anybody on that end of the floor. But offensively, there's still some stuff they need to figure out if they want to make sure we're not having a short visit here in Tampa.
Final thoughts from you, Elijah, as you get ready. I know we'll have you back on tomorrow morning when we're down in Darlington. You'll be down in Tampa. But final thoughts today for us.
Yeah, final thoughts today as they get ready for Texas. I think the biggest storyline of this game is the adjustments that these two coaches are going to make. When you see each other for a 4th time in a season, especially considering you've already saw them last month, these two teams know each other as well as they know themselves. So really the biggest thing here is what changes, right? What does Vic Schaefer do to get Madison Booker better looks? Because in the 2 losses that Texas had to Carolina, Madison Booker shooting 21% from the field. She shot 28% from the field in all 3 games combined. How do they get her good luck? And for South Carolina, how do you keep Ashley Jones and Kyla Oldacre off the board? Because ultimately that was the difference maker in the game in Austin. So if you want to avoid a loss, you avoid what happened there. But what else different do you throw at Texas to maybe give them something that they're not prepared for? That, to me, is the biggest storyline in this game between 2 Hall of Fame head coaches and 2 elite basketball teams.
Elijah, we appreciate it. We look forward to catching up with you tomorrow.
Absolutely. And, of course, thanks to Lexington Discount Homes, Atkins Law, and Columbia Craft and Peak Drip for allowing me to take a nice scenic visit to the Final Four this year.
Beautiful. Look forward to it, buddy. Be safe today. Enjoy your time in Tampa, and we'll catch up tomorrow morning. Elijah Campbell, live from Tampa, and we'll catch up with him tomorrow. I'm out. Preston and Tyler will hold down the fort. Maybe some WrestleMania discussion.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Can we have Tyler in here and not talk wrestling? What are we doing?
We'll get to that. Y'all have a good day. I will be back tomorrow live from Darlington. Preston and Tyler got it held down the rest of the way. It is the early game.
Hey, Columbia, this is Preston for Cato's Power Equipment. Cato's Power Equipment has been family-owned and serving the Midlands since 1983, and it's helped everyone from weekend warriors to professional landscapers. That's over 40 years. And at Cato's, they're proud to offer a wide selection of new and pre-owned mowers, tractors, and more. Ready to invest in something new? Well, the friendly team is there to make the process easy, and they help you choose the right equipment, find financing options, and keep your gear running strong with extra service and parts. The crew might be young, but they have over 125 years of know-how in outdoor power equipment. So swing by Cato's Power Equipment today. They'll help you power up your next project. Call them at 803 803-254-3711. That's 803-254-3711.
And take another look at your traffic and weather for your ride in on this Thursday morning. Do have a couple things to report. Got an accident at I-26 eastbound at exit number 110. So be careful as you're making your way through that area. Another one at I-20 westbound at exit 76A. Nearby as well, I-20 eastbound at 2 Notch Road. That is exit number 74. And last one for you here. This is going to be an accident at I-26 eastbound at exit number 113. It'll be a nice warm day, getting a little bit of a glimpse into summertime almost, as highs today are going to get all the way up to 86 degrees with some intermittent sunshine. Tomorrow, high of 87, 86 on Saturday and Sunday as well. To traffic and weather here on the Early Game.
Welcome back into the early game. Preston Thorne, Tyler Head, Terry Ford, a ragtag crew. Tyler, is this the equivalent to when the baseball teams bring in a position player and they just throw him on the mound to eat up innings? Or what are we doing here?
I feel like the backup quarterback.
Okay.
We're up 42-3 in the fourth quarter against an FCS opponent, and I need some reps. I need some snaps. I'm the projected starter for next year.
Okay.
So Bill can go sit on the sidelines with the ball cap and drink some Gatorade, and I'm just going to hand the ball off for the next couple of minutes.
You say we're up. Did you listen to the show today?
I listened intermittently.
I don't know about us being up. We played. So here's the thing, man. We've been having this conversation about the Braves, about baseball, a lot of baseball talk today, and it's been fun. We know have our segment, Chop Talk. We talk about Braves.
Yep.
And we started our Chop Talk segment with this sound right here.
High fly ball to center field. Harris is back. Ohtani, inevitable.
Normally you would start a segment about Braves baseball with maybe a highlight from Braves baseball.
Sure, something positive.
Yeah, that was not a highlight from Braves baseball. That was Shohei Ohtani going deep in the bottom of the ninth.
Yep.
Sending the Dodgers to be 8-0, while the Braves are opposite of that. Now, Tyler, I do think you're a Braves fan.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I'm a Braves fan.
Braves fan.
Born and bred.
That's what I assumed.
I grew up about 30 minutes from Turner Field.
Now, you were offering a take on the game last night. You were saying.
Yeah, so watching this game, they got up to the 5-0 lead early there, and it's terrible to be this pessimistic or this 7 games in the season. I knew they were going to blow it. I just didn't know how they were going to blow it.
Okay.
And lo and behold, the greatest baseball player on the face of the earth right now comes up in the bottom of the ninth, and you give him a pitch to hit, and what does he do? He hits it.
Yeah, and I guess that's my biggest takeaway from this whole conversation is that why do you pitch to him in that situation?
I don't know.
That seems like a huge amount of neglect. And I don't know whether it's from Snicker, whether he decided he didn't give him the signal, or whether the pitcher didn't execute the pitch. I don't know what's happening, but that doesn't seem like that should be the throw that goes to Ohtani in that situation.
And the thing is, again, the Dodgers are loaded from top to bottom.
Course.
So there's really no, bad option in their lineup. So, yeah, you walk Ohtani, Mookie Betts comes to the plate, Teoscar Hernandez after him, Conforto, all that kind of stuff. So you're going to deal with somebody at some point. I'd rather take my chances with one of those other all-star caliber guys than, again, the best player on the face of the earth today in Shohei Ohtani. Put him on first. You already had one out.
That's the other
thing. You had the opportunity
there was an out
for a double play to end the inning and take you into extras.
And again, we don't do a lot of strategic baseball talk, but that just seems like an easy call to me.
Look, if Mookie Betts comes up after that and drives him in on an RBI double or whatever, I can almost live with that, right? Because, again, you didn't let the best player on earth beat you, but you did.
It's the old Bill Belichick thing, right? Take away the best thing.
Exactly.
And let the other players beat you.
If anything, I'm not pitching to him at all. I'm going to walk him every single time. I'm going to let those other 8 MVPs beat me.
You've heard the stories about Barry Bonds when they would walk him with bases loaded, and they'd be like, well, that's just 1 run instead of 4 runs, right? And it just seems like that's just a situation where I guess if things are going bad, they just go worse. When it rains, it pours, and things are not going well for the Braves right now. So that led us to our conclusion. You know what we do on this show? We like to declare things the biggest X blank of the year, of the season, of the galaxy, whatever you want to do.
Yep.
And I think we have a legit claim here coming up.
Yeah, I heard you guys reference Kevin Keenley's stat. I used to actually work with him. He went to Georgia, too, and worked at the same radio station. And anything that he puts out there is 100% legit. He knows his statistics. And, yeah, anybody that started off the season this bad does not make the postseason. And, again, the Braves went into the season with the second or third best odds to win the World Series. They're a very talented team. You're waiting on Acuna to come back, Spencer Strider, all that kind of stuff. So the team has the opportunity to get better. And look, you got a pretty tough draw with literally the 2 of the best teams in the National League to start the season. So it's going to get a little bit easier. The Marlins are a team that the Braves have had in check for the past several years. But, man, what a tough way to start the year.
Yeah, I haven't looked at rotation, but is Is Alcantara on the mound on?
Let's see. Let's see what they got here. Look at
I haven't seen that. We'll check that out. But you're right. Yes, they did draw a tough draw early, but the Marlins are going to be a little bit more manageable.
Alcantara is not going to start until Sunday, so tomorrow.
Well, the season could be over by Sunday, Tyler.
I know the season could be over by Sunday. Tomorrow you're going to have Max Meyer on the mound for the Marlins and Spencer Schwellenbach on the mound for the Braves.
And that all sounds good, but even when we're having this conversation with the Marlins, the stuff that I was reading, the conversation was like, well, the Braves are going to be in the market to get Alcantara when they go to make this playoff run, and
sure.
they're going to be buyers in the market and all this stuff. It's like, hold on a second.
Are they?
We're not even. Do the Braves end up turning into sellers here?
I was going to say, obviously, Jurickson Profar is out for the first half of the season. He will come back, I believe, on June the 29th. Is this a team that's going to be in a position to make a run in the back half of the season by the time he comes back?
I mean, that's to be determined. And that's why you're saying that this particular game where no team has ever started this bad and made a postseason run. Really quickly, yes, Vegas had the Braves as one of the betting odds favorites to win. But you, as a fan, what did your gut tell you going into the season?
Look, they're going to be good, right? As far as being able, and again, the Dodgers were number one. I don't see anybody unseating them for a while because they have so much talent. They've obviously paid for that talent. Look, I think the Braves are routinely going to be a team that's going to be in the postseason, as they were last year, despite all the injuries and stuff like that. But I just don't see them as a team that's going to be able to get over the hump and get back to a World Series, let alone win a thing, maybe for a while. Unfortunately, I hate to be that way.
Yeah,
but
I mean,
again, good, not elite.
How does it feel going into a season knowing that you're not going to be so? We was referencing the Athletics article and talking about the hope meter.
Sure.
The Braves fans knew the Braves were going to be good, but I don't know if the hope was actually there about winning the World Series.
And look, maybe I'm in the minority on this one, but the World Series win of 2021, that's something that's going to last me a while.
Okay, you got that.
One of those things that I've seen it in my lifetime. And again, the last time was 95. I wasn't alive back then. I've seen the Braves win the World Series. I can coast off that for a little bit. Again, do I want them to win every single year? Of course I do. But it's not again, that is so far in the past. We're oh my God, I have no memories of it. I'm still okay knowing that was only a handful of years ago.
And so the second biggest series of the year we've talked about as far as baseball is concerned. We talked about the Gamecocks moving into their series against Mississippi State.
Right. Biggest series of the season. Because
for very similar reasons, right?
If you are able to beat Mississippi State, it kind of confirms, okay, this team is good, but not good enough to compete with top 25s or beat top 25s. If you lose, then it's well, maybe they're just not good enough to compete in the SEC.
Mm-hmm.
That's a tough pill to swallow, if so.
Yeah, that's not a conversation that we enjoy having here at South Carolina. We proclaim ourselves to be baseball season, and we don't have any World Series victories recently to sort of keep in our back pockets. Well, since we have our guy Tyler Head in studio today, we would be remiss if we let him out of here because this is the time of year where wrestling fans are starting to get excited. When we come back on the other side, little wrestling talk with our guy Tyler Head. This is Preston Thor, and this is the early game. Press here for our friends at Absolute Glass, the premier glass company of the Midlands, offering auto, home, and business glass repair. So if your glass is damaged, shattered, cracked, or broken, they can handle the job. If it's a cracked windshield, that's no problem. They'll come out to your location and replace it for you, usually for free, and they work directly with the insurance to take away the headache. That's right. They'll come out to wherever you are, school, home, work, it does not matter. The good folks at Absolute Glass will come out and take care of it for you. Now, if you're at home and you're looking to increase the value of your home, you can do that with new windows or mirrors, and Absolute Glass will take care of that for you too. Windows, mirrors, shower enclosures. I say it all the time. If you can see through it, Ray and Marianne at Absolute Glass can do it. So check them out online at AbsoluteGlassInc.com. That's online at AbsoluteGlassInc.com. Welcome back into the early game. Preston Thorne, Tyler Head, Terry Ford, Ragtag Crew, bringing it home. We're going to finish this thing off. While we got my guy Tyler Head in the studio, we have to mine him for his expertise. But before we do that,
yes, so you just heard the commercial a few minutes ago. Tartan Day South this upcoming weekend out at historic Columbia Speedway. Things actually getting started today. We've got some family 4-pack of tickets to give away. And as we've been doing over the last couple days, text us on the Firehouse Up text line 803-404-6100 for your chance to win a family 4-pack of tickets. Our promotions lady Jeannie will hit you up on the text line to get your information on that. But text in your name, tell us you want the tickets, and we'll get back to you if you are one of the winners.
appreciate that. Okay, Tyler, you're in here.
Yes.
We don't get you often, so when we have you, especially at this time of the year.
Yep, it's getting close.
It's getting close. WrestleMania is on deck.
Yes.
It's close. For those who are casuals and for those who don't keep up, let's just pick the number of 3.
All right.
Let's start at the top.
Yes.
What's the biggest storyline we need to know right now?
John Cena and Cody Rhodes.
Okay.
John Cena as a heel.
As a heel.
For the first time in 20 years.
We had you on the books to talk about when he turned, and we didn't get it done.
Yes, because you had to bounce that day.
This was a crazy. This was one of the biggest turns in wrestling history. Correct.
So what's dubbed the biggest turn in wrestling history was at Bash to the Beach '96 when Hulk Hogan was revealed as the NWO's third man when he does the leg drop on Randy Savage, and that because again Hulk Hogan was plucky good guy, told you to say your prayers and eat your vitamins, and sold millions of dollars worth of merch and all that kind of stuff. No way he'd ever go to the dark side.
That was huge.
That created the Hollywood Hogan run, one of the best heel runs in wrestling history. That's akin to this because John Cena has been the good guy for, again, over 20 years. He's done all the Make-A-Wish stuff. He's done more Make-A-Wishes. He did those the day he turned. So earlier that day in the arena, he's doing Make-A-Wishes for sick kids and all that kind of stuff, knowing that night he was going to break all of their hearts.
A true pro.
Like, again, and he sold so much merchandise. Like, and the thing about this year's his retirement year. He's retiring at the end of the year. His last match is
wrestling retirement.
I think he's legit. Like he's in his mid-40s. He's going off to Hollywood, acting, all that kind of stuff. This is his last run. He could have very easily done paint by the numbers, played all the hits, gone out there, rehashed some old rivalries, and just made everybody happy. But to do this in your last year, bold. But you want to talk about getting interest? People across the world that haven't watched wrestling in years are in on this because of how big of a deal it was, how big of a shock it is.
Okay.
So they've got people hook, line, and sinker.
And so that's going to be the main event.
That'll be the main event on Sunday night 2.
All right. What's another event we need? Another storyline.
So night 1's main event will be Roman Reigns, CM Punk, my guy, and Seth Rollins in a triple threat. A lot of story behind this one. I don't have enough time to tell you why, but it's a big deal.
Okay.
Big deal.
Okay.
What else?
What role is The Rock playing in all of this?
So here's the thing. So The Rock was the catalyst for John Cena turning heel.
I saw the clips.
Because for those that don't know, Rock is a part owner of WWE now with TKO, the brand that now runs the company. And he was there kind of insinuating John Cena's heel turn. We've not seen or heard from him since then. WrestleMania is 2.5 weeks away. I don't know what role he's going to play. He's got to have something to do with it. Again, we haven't seen him since then. I don't know if he's going to show up that night, if he's going to be there beforehand, but he's lurking. I'll say that much.
And to bring that up, The Rock is kind of doing this final boss character right now.
He's been doing that, which is phenomenal, by the way. It's a great character.
It is a great look for him, but he's on the heel side right now.
Yes, and it blurs that line between reality and what's part of the show because he legitimately is the boss. He can call the shots. He can make things happen. So I'm like, I don't know, but that's where it's created intrigue because I've been a wrestling fan for a long time. You can almost guess some things that are going to happen. Like, okay, here's how I see this going, and it goes exactly that way. I have no clue what's going to happen here. Does Cody Rhodes retain his championship? That'd be huge if he did. John Cena, if he wins the title, will have the most world titles ever. He will top Ric Flair's record of 16. If he wins the 17th, what happens then? Does he keep that until the end of the year and then pass it on to somebody else? I don't know, but that's what creates so much excitement, the unknown of this, because it's so unique and rare.
And it's all leading up to the biggest event of the year.
Exactly, as it should be.
As it should. Now, really quickly, how has the Netflix experience been?
It's been pretty good. They've been able to push the limits a little bit more in terms of things they can say, blood, which is something that wasn't as playable on network TV. So I think they've done well with it. And look, WWE is not going to go gory and vulgar constantly.
It's not ECW.
But when they do, it makes an impact. Again, it's kind of like that one gunshot at the end of the movie as opposed to 1,000 during the movie. When it happens, it's impactful. and I like that.
That makes a lot of sense. All right, so with WrestleMania on the way, we're looking for Cody Rhodes and John Cena.
Yep.
The final boss.
Yep.
The Rock will be having their
Something
will be going on with that. We're going to have to bring you back one more time before WrestleMania to give us another primer, and then we're going to absolutely do a review of WrestleMania because we need to make sure that we're up on all of this.
I'm good with it.
I'm sure you are. Well, appreciate y'all listening. This is Preston Thor. That's Tyler Head, Terry Ford. Hope you listened. Hope you had a good show. Tomorrow we are in Darlington, NASCAR tomorrow. Talk to y'all later.